Today we are checking out the 2024 Chevy Equinox. This is the top of the line trim. This is the Premier Equinox. And for 2024, this is the last time you're going to be able to see this body style, because for 2025, the Chevy folks are totally redesigning the Equinox, and it gets a totally different feel and look for that new model year in 2025. Those Equinoxes, by the way, are expected in showrooms toward the end of this year of 2024. So let's talk about this Equinox as it is right here before you. While this is the premier trim of the Equinox, it's still a little unrefined, uninspiring, and kind of blah at first glance. The interior is actually quite nice. Take a look at this right here. Dual tone leather, it feels nice, it's kind of supple, it's soft to the touch. There's some nice premier touches for sure on the inside of this Equinox, but the ride isn't all that amazing. The power, a little lackluster in my opinion. So I think the 2025 redesign is going to be super welcome by fans of Chevy who are looking for a smaller SUV that has a lot of room. That is what this thing does really well. There is a ton of room on the inside for a smaller crossover. A lot of space for people, for cargo, a lot of rear legroom as well. It just actually hides its space kind of well. And the other huge selling point, no pun intended, is the price. This is fully loaded for just over $33,000. All the tech you could possibly need in an affordable SUV. So I'll give you a full review of the outside of this Equinox, a full review of the inside, and show you kind of the things where I think maybe it could do a little bit better in that redesign that's coming up, and also some things that I think Chevy is kind of doing well as it is. So if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for finding us here on Overdrive Reviews. Please smash that like button and that subscribe button as well below, and be sure to follow us over on Overdrive Reviews on Instagram. Lots of fun content for you there as well. All right, let's hop into the outside of this Equinox and show you what things I'm not too fond of. Then we'll get under the hood and talk about the power here on this Equinox. Let's go. Before we get going, though, a huge shout out to the folks at Kramer's Middletown in Middletown, Pennsylvania, from their long-term rental division for lending me this car today. You basically, through their program, can rent a car for 3, 4, 5, 6 months instead of 3 or 4 years on a lease. That's a bad word in their world. A long-term rental here at Budget Harrisburg. So their website, budgetharrisburg.com. Long-term rentals. Basically the peace of mind of a brand new car every few months with no maintenance costs because they take care of all of it. Trucks, big BMWs, SUVs, sports cars, EVs, tons of EVs here. And they've got everything. Look at all those trucks behind me. There's tons of SUVs over there. BudgetHarrisburg.com. A huge shout out to their long-term rental division. You have got to check them out. So I mentioned one of the big pluses of the Equinox when it's fully loaded is that it actually is super affordable. About $33,000 for this Premier trim here, and there are still some options you can upgrade to and give yourself some more things. We'll talk about those in the inside. But whenever you compare this to the rivals, to the CR-V, to the Mazda CX-50, this undercuts that by several $1,000s. Those cars can top off about $40,000 with all the options. This Equinox is definitely more affordable and has relatively the same kind of options in it. This is loaded with the lane keep assist, the forward collision, the emergency braking, rear cross traffic alert. But as far as price, it starts around $27,995 for the LS Equinox. LT goes for about $30,890. The RS, the sportier kind of blacked out version, goes for about $32,000. And then this Premier tops out over $33,000, has all the RS stuff plus more. There's not much to talk about on the outside of this. I mean, it's kind of a bland SUV from this angle, I think. It looks better from the front, but I'm really glad that Chevy is giving it its due diligence and giving it some attention for that redesign in 2025. You could probably snag one of these 2024s off of a Chevy lot for quite a deal, because you know they want to move these things and make room for the new inventory once it comes in. So if you still like the Equinox, you want an affordable SUV with decent styling. It's not ugly, it's just not all that inspiring. It's kind of lacks compellingness in my opinion. But back here you do have nice big old rear lights, which kind of look kind of nice. I mean, they look maybe more modern than the rest of the car, right? This, by the way, again, is the all-wheel drive Premier version. Down here, got that badging for you here. There are parking sensors all around this car, and I usually don't like this black cladding because it kind of contrasts with a lighter color paint, but it looks okay with the black here. And speaking of paint, that is all that is new for this 2024 model year. Two different kinds of blue, Riptide blue and Lakeshore blue. Those are the only two things that are new for the Equinox for 2024 before Chevy kind of phases this style out entirely. Now 17-inch wheels are standard with 19-inch wheels optional here. I believe these are the 19-inch wheels. Actually, these are 18s, excuse me. These are 225/60 R18s here on this Equinox. These are Michelin tires. There are 19-inch wheels optional as well. But this one here, of course, four-wheel disc brakes all the way around. Some decent attempt at making it look more luxurious with this chrome trim here and here on the handle. Right here you do have your integrated side turning signals. I'm really surprised there is no sunroof on this one. This is the top of the line. This is the Premier. No sunroof. Kind of a miss in my world. The age of this style, yeah, you can really see it here in the front. This looks like something from 2015, 2016, and Chevy just is really, really overdue for that redesign. But that big bow tie in the front, if you want a brand that you know, that you're comfortable with, hey, this one cannot be beat. The price is just phenomenal. Now, there is a separate EV version of the Equinox, which looks entirely different and gets up to 319 miles of range. Again, a totally separate car, does not look like this, so there's not much I'm going to be able to highlight that is similar or the same at all for this Equinox here. But as the sun comes out, that chrome looks a little more fun. It's not ugly, it's not pretty. It really is kind of just as mediocre as it gets styling wise. So let's hop into the hood area and the engine area and talk about the power in this thing. And again, much like the styling and the overall feel and appeal, a little lacking there too. There is only one engine option. Let's get at it. So there was only one engine option on the 2024 Equinox. It is this turbocharged 4-cylinder engine pumping out 175 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque. Now this thing is geared more toward comfort and MPGs more so than sportiness, even though it does have that turbo engine. So about 2631 with front-wheel drive, about 2430 for all-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive is standard. All-wheel drive, like this car has, is optional. Now as far as a sprint to 60, if you can call it a sprint, about 8 seconds from 0 to 60 here. It is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is rather smooth. It's a little noisy under some acceleration, and you do need a heavy lead foot to kind of make this thing get up and go. It is not going to go out of its way to hustle for you. So just be aware of that. If you're looking for one of these, family size SUVs, it's a little bit smaller, that also has some power, maybe the Equinox is not for you. I'm all about power. I love driving quickly. This engine is not going to give that to you, unfortunately. All right, let's hop into the cargo area because there is plenty of room for a smaller car. Let's go. So I mentioned how much room this thing has as far as interior room. Yeah, and I wasn't lying. So back here in the automatic trunk, 30 cubic feet of space behind the second row seats. With that second row down, 64 cubic feet of space. It's actually quite impressive. Now to get those second row seats down at the grab of a button, I guess you can call it, pull this one here, that one goes down, and then pull this one here, and that one goes down. They don't go down totally flat. It's almost completely flat, but more than enough room to put lots of bags, containers, larger items that you want to haul around. Or if you just want to, have the seats down and have a wider view for your dog or something in the back, that's an option too. There is an underfloor storage area right here. Just this little strap, pull this up. There's not much else back here in the trunk. Space is probably all most people want to be in their trunk, and there is definitely plenty of it. A little cubby alcove here, maybe a cubby alcove there. There is a 12-volt outlet back here for you, should you need that. Lots of room in the rear of this Equinox, and on this Premier model, there is a power liftgate button right up top for you. Just push that. And another fun thing too, like a lot of cars have nowadays, but maybe you don't expect it on a Chevy, at least a $33,000 Chevy, is that you can change how high the lift gate goes. And you actually change that by going over here to the driver's driver door and going down here to the bottom part where the cup holder is, and you can change how high it goes. The max height, 3/4 height, but that's kind of a cool option to customize if you're taller, if you're shorter. And with that, let's hop on the inside of this thing. All right, so as I do with most of my reviews for the inside, I start at the door because it's the first thing you see and touch when you get into your vehicle. Love this dual tone leather. This feels quite nice to the touch. This plastic doesn't feel all that amazing. It definitely is the cheaper kind of plastic. There are degrees of plastic quality, by the way. Some people rag on me for being like, well, what else would you like the interior of the car to be made out of? Well, I expect plastic, of course, but there are different levels of quality of plastic, and this car has too much of the bad stuff in my view. You do have memory seating right here, which maybe you don't expect always on a Chevy Equinox, but you do have it there. You do have the classic GM buttons all over the place. They have not changed in the 2024. The driver only window is automatic up and down. The other windows are just automatic down, which is still a plus, I think, in my view. Over here at the driver's seat, you do have power for every single movement. The passenger seat is manual everything. You do have lumbar support here for you as well, and the seat goes everywhere you would expect it to. 8-way power adjustable for you. They're super, super comfortable and really soft to the touch. I'm really kind of pleased and surprised actually at the quality of the leather. I mean, the stitching is quite nice, and this stitching, if you can tell, is kind of like an amber orangish, maybe a dark brown or something like that. And it contrasts perfectly and quite well with what looks like maybe like a peanut butter Oreo or something on the inside of this Equinox. I love the color combination. When I got this car today, I did not anticipate the interior being as nice and as pleasing to the eye as it actually is. So nice job on Chevy for that, for sure. Let's hop into the car now, do my little door check that I always do and see what it sounds like. A little more rattle over here at the windowsill area than I would like. So here in the cockpit, in the driver's seat, if you will, the screen here in the center is a 7-inch standard screen. There is an 8-inch optional screen that this car does have. And this MyLink system here in the center is classic Chevy, super easy to use, very friendly. The infotainment in this car for the price is actually quite nice. It's easy to navigate. It does exactly what you want it to do, and there's no tough screens or tough, interface to deal with. Let's start her up. The button is kind of hidden down here behind the steering wheel a little bit. A nice greet here by the big bow tie, that classic bow tie for you. Yeah, and there's the overall setup for you. You've seen this a million times if you've driven a Chevy anytime recently. So here in the center part, in the gauge cluster, just that teeny screen right there is digital. Everything else is still traditional, gauges in the tachometer and the speedometer, your gas and your engine temperature, things like that. I don't mind it. I've seen it, again, 1,000 times in any rental vehicle you've ever had. It is there. It looks largely the same. Chevy has not changed it up, at least for the 2024 model. That could be coming again for the new one later this year. I want to talk about all the buttons though on this freaking steering wheel. All of your cruise control options over here. You do have your forward mitigation button here. You can kind of choose how close you want the car to get before it alerts you. They're nicely placed right here in this Equinox. Sometimes they're down here and they're tough to get to. Heated steering wheel button for you right there. This is your lane keep assist, tons of safety features, and then everything infotainment music wise is over here and controls this screen. Now let's talk about more infotainment things. There is a Wi-Fi hotspot subscription available here in the Equinox. This car does not have that, but as far as charging and things like that, there is also a wireless charge pad available for you down here, and you do have, if you can see it, a USB-C, a USB, and an aux cord, and a 12-volt outlet. So a lot of different ways to listen to music, to listen to your devices, whatever you want to do. Chevy's like, hey, I'll give you all the options. How about that? Right here, you do have your automatic start and stop button. Again, I complain about this all the time. I hate that cars start with it on and you have to deactivate it. I would rather the car start with it off and I have to turn it on if I want to use it. I hate the car stopping at every stoplight. I think it's one of the stupidest things ever. This also has heated seats here in the front, which is nice. A classic Chevy GM lineup and setup here for the HVAC system for your climate control. You do have dual zone climate control in this particular Equinox, which is a nice touch as well. I mentioned this is all-wheel drive. The button to engage all-wheel drive is right in front of the gear shifter right there. Want me to pop out the sun? There it is for you. The car turns on in front-wheel drive mode, and you have to push the button to turn on all-wheel drive. And of course, your screen up here will tell you once all-wheel drive has been activated. There it goes. All-wheel drive mode is on. So that's where I'm going to keep it whenever we go for the test drive. You've got your parking sensor button right here for you as well to disengage those, because sometimes they get a little bit annoying. One of the big things this car does really well, yeah, cup holders. On top of the price, lots of cup holders. It has tons of them. 2 here, 1 in each door, and then 2 in between the rear seats. So there's cup holders galore. This center cushion here for your armrest, again, nice to the touch. It could be a little more padded in my opinion. This leather on the seats is quite nice. This leather feels a little bit different. It looks the same though, but just feels less padded at my first touch here. Let's open this up. There's a little insert for a little tray, and this is a rather deep little hole. Let me readjust my camera here for you. Rather deep. Look how far down my hand goes. Lots of things you could store in there. You've got 2 more USB ports right there to charge your phone, charge other devices. This does not slide like I would love it to. I would love if this would slide up. All of the trim here, not crazy about it. It's kind of an attempt at making it look nicer, but it's like the cheaper plastic with chrome kind of just like laid on top. Whenever you push on some of the buttons and use some of the vents, they feel a little cheap to the touch. But again, that price is almost, unbelievable and unheard of in this segment for this many options. So you do have to have some give and take, unfortunately. There is a Bose premium sound system that you can upgrade to. This particular Equinox does not have it, but I think if I was buying one of these, I would absolutely upgrade to the Bose sound system because I'm an audiophile. I love, love, love good music. But the steering wheel feels great to the touch. It's a little chintzy up top. I feel like it could be a little more fat up here, but the leather wrapped is nice. It is warm whenever the heated steering wheel button has been activated. And all of your crazy, confusing GM stocks are right here. I don't love the way they make them feel. They feel like, I don't know, paintbrushes. They're thin at the wrong places. I don't love the way they look or feel. All of the intermittent wipers and where to turn what on, I don't know. Confusing to me if you don't use it every day. Every single one of them, by the way, has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay standard, and it's wireless, I believe, in this one, which is quite nice too. That is it for the front of the car here. Nicely done. Out of 10 for the price, I give it a 7. There could be better materials as far as the plastic goes. It's a little uninspiring until you look at the leather. If this dual tone leather was not in here, I don't think I'd be as pleased with it, but it's a solid 7 out of 10 for the price range. Let's hop in the back seat. Definitely a place you could ride on a longer trip and be super comfortable. Lots of leg room for the size of this vehicle, like I mentioned before. This leather, again, I keep talking about it like a peanut buttery Oreo cookie. It looks so nice and it feels so great to the touch. More cup holders here in the center part of the seat in between the two folks. So again, cup holder way over there, 2 cup holders here, cup holder here in this door. There are like 8 cup holders in this car for 5 people. Put that back up. I showed you earlier how to put the rear seats down from the trunk area. You can also do it from right here like you normally could. Just pull on this little button and it goes down seamlessly. These are a little heavy to pick back up. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm doing it with one arm. It's a little bit hard to do. These are heavier rear seats, so you kind of need 2 hands to do this. They definitely are tougher to put back up, so just be aware of that. They're not easily put back up. You really have to put some effort into doing so. You do have some mat flaps and things to store on the back of the passenger and the driver's seat. You also have 2 more charging ports right here. These are USB charging ports, and you also have a 3-pronged 120 volt outlet way down there that you can flip open and use at your will. But the back seat, let me sit down actually here for you. Yeah, I've got my seat where I would drive, and I'm 6'2", and I have a good 6 inches, 5 inches between me and the front seat here. So there is tons of leg room back here for taller folks. And my head, let me show you my face right now, flip it around for you. I'm nowhere near the top of this thing. So plenty of headroom, plenty of leg room. The back seat, you're gonna be surprised. It's spacious and has a lot of room for, again, a mid-size crossover SUV. Let's get this thing out on the road and see how it does. Alrighty, so out on the road here, I actually just saw a trailer being towed by another vehicle. I forgot to mention earlier in the video that this car actually has a 3,500 pound towing capacity. So, you know, not bad for a SUV that is meant for, you know, driving kids to and from school, to and from soccer practice, and hauling groceries home. Out on the road here, the ride is competent. It's smooth. Engine, not so smooth in my opinion. It's loud, it's clunky, it's super underpowered. It's 2024. I think engines should be, you know, as efficient and as get up and go capable as possible. And 175 horsepower on an all-wheel drive, you know, 3,000 pound SUV just is not going to cut it. It's not enough. This needs more power. It's sluggish under acceleration when you're trying to merge. And even right there, I just took a turn, slowed down, hit the gas to kind of go up a small incline, and the car kind of had to, like, it was really reluctant to downshift. It does not want to downshift because, again, it's geared toward MPGs and fuel efficiency. Here's some acceleration. Listen to this sound. Yeah. And it's actually the forward collision mitigation system just kicked in. The seat actually vibrates because I got too close to the car in front of me, and the red lights that are in the dash, kind of built in like where a heads-up display would be, they reflect up onto the windshield. So between the seat vibrating and the red lights flashing at you, that is the forward collision mitigation system. Not bad at all. It actually took me by surprise. I forgot the seats vibrate. But what's really cool about the Equinox name is that it's the best-selling nameplate, actually, in the Chevy brand, behind the Silverado. It does relatively well as far as sales. It's a popular name, and it only is outdone by their famous truck. This car also has a 5-star safety rating. Love this interior. Now that I'm out on the road too, these seats are comfortable. The heated seat is not on, but I did try it earlier when I was sitting still. It gets warm quickly. Definitely usable and useful and valuable on a chilly day. I have the collision mitigation and the lane keep assist system on, and I'm intentionally trying to throw it off to see how it does. It didn't correct me there, and I'm definitely on a straightaway enough that it should have read the road and beeped at me. Okay, there, the seat actually vibrated for me. I went over the line on the right side of the road. The car definitely read it. Yep, that worked there. Steering is precise as well. I'm kind of surprised. All the corners I'm taking here, the car goes exactly where I'm pointing it. The ride, again, quiet. I don't hear any wind right now. I'm going about 62 miles an hour. These 18s look nice. They're on the Premier trim, and they're not terrible over bumps and, you know, imperfections in the road. You do feel some occasionally, and like right here, the road is kind of graded up, and you can hear it on one side of the car. I do have it in all-wheel drive mode right now. Again, great fuel economy in all-wheel drive, and it doesn't take premium gas or anything. 4-cylinder engine, some peppy, get up and go. Does not want to downshift. This car does not like going quickly. Let's hit the brakes here and see how they feel. They felt great earlier when I was playing around with this at a slower speed. Here we go, some brakes. Oh yeah. They were gripped very quickly, and the car, you know, stopped exactly where I pointed it to. It didn't kind of veer off to the left or the right. Small side road here just to see how it does over some bumps. Yeah, nice. It actually soaks those up nicely. I'm in all-wheel drive mode still. Again, didn't change it yet. Going about 45, 50 miles an hour. Some more potholes right here. Nicely done. Yeah, I do think 18-inch wheels is the perfect middle ground. Going around a biker here. Sorry, ma'am. Thank you. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't want to spend a ton of money and break the bank, but needs 5 seats and lots of cup holders and lots of tech that's easy to use, this Equinox is a perfect choice. But if you're someone who cares about aesthetics and cares about maybe turning heads when you're driving down the road or on the way to work in the morning, Equinox is probably not for you, at least this 2024 and before model. You probably should wait till the 25 model comes out. So let's do an acceleration test here in the all-wheel drive mode activated from stop to 60 in 3, 2. Oh, it does not want to go. We're at 50. 60. Yeah, that was like pulling teeth, I feel like. Uninspiring, not fun, not a great sound, super loud. If it has a downfall as far as things on a checklist, I'm putting engine under the But overall, a nice package and undercuts the competition as far as price by several $1,000s. So if you care more about money in the bank, more so than rubber on the road, perhaps you should check out the 2024 Chevy Equinox. That is my review of this 2024 Equinox Premier in the highest trim. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel here on Overdrive Reviews as well, and be sure to be following us over on Instagram at Overdrive Reviews. I appreciate the support as always. You guys rock. Let me know in the comments below what else you want to see. We'll see you next time.